Welcome to the fifth Onshape tutorial for the LUX project. In this video we're going to look at making the lower arm. So go to create a document, give it a name, so LUX lower arm, click OK, and that will take us through into the design area. So slightly more complicated than some of the other parts that we've done. So two reasonably simple sketches. We're going to start on the top work plane. So right click on the top work plane, click new sketch, right click, new normal to sketch plane. And we're going to start off with a center point rectangle. And we're just going to drag out a rectangle from the origin. And then we're going to dimension that. So use the dimension tool, and we want this to be 9mm wide. Remember, don't click centrally when dimensioning it, otherwise you'll dimension to the edge of that work plane. And we want it to be 49mm long. So that's the first part of our sketch. I'm just using the scroll wheel to zoom in. At this end, we're going to put a circle so that we create a hole. So just line that up either with the origin or the center of the top line. Just drag out a circle. And at this end, we're just going to cut out a slot. So we're going to use a corner rectangle. So again, I'm just going to make sure I'm highlighting the line, just drag up. And now we can add some dimensions to that. So let's start with the circle. That wants to have a diameter of 6mm. And the center wants to be 4.5 from the top edge. And now for the rectangle at the bottom, it wants to be 3mm in from the left and 3mm in from the right. And it wants to be 15mm high, or 15mm up from the edge. So that should be 15. 5. There we go. So now I just need to trim out this piece here because we're not conforming to a proper sketch. We've got more than two lines coming away from this point. We've got one to the left, one to the right, and one going up. In fact, what you will notice is this software remembers if you've got a line over another line. So I can delete that line, but you see it's still there, and I can cut that line again, and now it's gone. And that's because there was the line from the original rectangle and the line from the one we drew over the top. So we had to cut that twice to remove it. So we've now got a shape now that we can extrude. So we're going to go over to the extrude tool. We want a distance of 15, and we want to change the condition to be symmetric. So if I just hold the right mouse button down and spin that round, you can see that it's extruded symmetrically from that work plane. So click on the tick to confirm that. Next, I'm going to spin it around using the right mouse button, and I'm going to select this side. I could just as easily, I suppose, select the work plane that runs through the middle. Right click, new sketch, right click, view normal to sketch plane. So at this end I've got the slot, this end I've got the hole. So the end with the slot, I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to line that up with the origin. I'll dimension that in a moment. And at this end, I'm going to draw a series of 4 lines. I'm going to draw a long line. I'm not going to quite go halfway. I'm going to do a diagonal down, doesn't matter what angle, line back to the original edge, and then go back up and join that. So I've got 4-sided shape there that I can now dimension. So I'm going to use the dimension tool. Let's do the circle before I forget. That's going to be 6mm diameter. And that's before 4.5 from the end. And now I'm going to dimension these. So it probably makes sense to dimension the long line first. That wants to be 25. Bottom line is going to be 12. And it wants to be 1.5mm from the work plane to that bottom line. So I click on the bottom line, click on that work plane edge, can now use the mirror tool to mirror that shape. So go to the mirror tool, select the mirror line, which is going to be the edge of this work plane, and then select the entities I want to mirror, which are going to be those four that make up that shape. Once I'm happy with that, I can go over to the features menu, and I can then do an extrude cut. So I need to click on remove, and I'm going to change that to through all. Click on the tick, and I've got this shape left. So nearly done. Last thing to do now is just to add on a radius or a fillet. So I'm going to the fillet tool. I'm going to change that to 2 millimeters, and I'm going to use this on the corners, the 6 corners that we have. So those four, the one on the end, spin it round by holding the right mouse button, and then left click on that last one. And that is that component finished.